Good morning guys, I hope you're well. Welcome to a beautiful morning here on the Pembrokeshire coast. Some amazing conditions. Unfortunately, I'm probably a little bit too late to make the best of the skies that we've got right now, but that is not really why I'm here today. I'm here to talk about a couple of things. One being how I manually focus to get really sharp photos, which is a question I get often asked. People see me creating these videos manually focusing, and they're interested how I do that, so I thought I'd just go through a few basics about that today. But I'm really here to capture an image that I've pre-visualized. It's quite an iconic location, and I really want to try and make the most from this location. So I've got an idea, a pre-visualization of what I want to achieve at this particular location. I'm looking for mist and light, and that's exactly what is forecast today. So I'm really hopeful that this morning at some point I can get all of the elements to tie together to be able to create this image. I'm also talking about a couple of personal projects I've got lined up for 2022 as well. So without further ado guys, let's get down to the cove and hopefully keep our fingers crossed for these awesome conditions that today is predicting. Essentially what I'm looking for is mist, and that mist coming through the cave that we've got here, church doors, and then I'm looking for light as well. I'm hoping the light will light up the mist as it comes through that cave and create something truly special. The light at the minute is absolutely beautiful, we just don't have the mist to go along with it. Now, as you can see, the tide is probably about mid-tide at the minute, and that's why I wasn't racing to get down here for those beautiful colours in the sky, because we really need the water to be a little higher to make this shot work as well. So there's so many elements have to combine for me to get this shot that I suspect it's something that I'll probably be working on over the course of the next year or so. I think maybe it's perhaps a 1 in 100 chance of getting what I'm looking for. But you know, all you can do is look at the forecast and go and see what happens, isn't it? And yeah, what a stunning place that really is, and the light at the minute is absolutely beautiful hitting these rocks. So we have had a little bit of mist, which is quite nice. Just now and again, little pockets of very, very light mist, which does help add a little bit to the atmosphere for this shot. But must be honest, I probably do want a bit more than what we're getting right now. We've got the golden light, we've got a little bit of mist. What we don't have for my pre-visualised shot is the tide at the right level. Ideally, I'd need the tide to be another 1.5 meters higher than it is right now. At the minute, it's about 3 meters, so that's a bit of a learning curve. I probably need it to be around about 4.5 meters, I think, to make this shot work for what I want. But anyway, I think this is a good starting point. So like I mentioned before, I'm really focusing on the doors and the vertical striking rock formations that we've got behind. And I've got a 10-stop filter on and also the circular polarizer on. This is giving me a 20-second exposure that smooths that water out completely. Not something I always like to do, but for this shot I think it really adds to the feel. So I am going to take a shot while the light's golden and there is a little bit of mist lingering around. So let me explain how I focus my lens. So I always use manual focus whenever I'm focusing my camera for a landscape shot. Not for when I'm shooting people or anything like that, but for a landscape shot, always manual. And essentially what I use is the AFL button. So I put it in manual focus. I don't bother touching the focus ring or anything like that. I just use the AFL button and I use the joystick on the back of my camera, or you might have a D-pad or something like that on the back of the camera, just to scroll the little box around until you are over the area in which you wish to focus on, and then literally just use the AFL button, press that once, and that locks the focus on that particular point, and then it won't move then for the rest of the day. If I stood here just taking images, I'm going to get my focus on exactly the same spot. It will never change, which is perfect for landscape photography, because you might want to set up for a long period of time and capture many shots over maybe an hour or two, and yeah, this is a perfect way of doing it. So that's it really. It's a really simple process. I don't bother with a touch screen or anything like that. I find I don't enjoy touch screens, never have. It's probably because I came from older DSLR models that didn't have them, but I always find that with a touch screen I'm pressing things I don't want to press, so I much prefer to use the manual controls. And like I said, AFL button, focus on the desired point, shoot it, review it, see if I'm sharp, see if I need to adjust my focus point, and then go from there. I have done another video a little while back now, all about how I focus and depth of field, and it's quite an interesting video. I'll link to that in the description and in the card at the top there if you fancy looking into focusing in more detail. Anyway, there's still some mist lingering. We've still got that golden light. The tide's coming in a little bit, so I'm going to take this shot now, wait it out for a little bit longer to see if anything changes. 2-second timer, golden light, a tiny little bit of mist. Probably a shot I'm going to revisit. So time for a coffee, guys. Got the stove here. While we're waiting for the light to change, perhaps a little bit more mist to come through, while we're making a coffee, I thought I'd just talk through some of the things I'm going to be working on this year, some things that I'm really excited about. So the first being increasing my prints sales business. Now this isn't directed at you guys, this isn't a sales video. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Now at the minute I currently sell my prints on my website, and the audience for those prints is essentially people that watch my YouTube channel. And I sell a number of prints each month, not a huge amount, and that's mainly because my target audience is other photographers. And other photographers are perhaps less likely to buy prints than, say, tourists visiting a holiday destination. So because I live in quite a touristy area now, there's over 7 million people visit the county every year to come on holiday. What I really want to do is concentrate on photographing some of the icons like church doors that we've got here, and making the very best I can from those locations. So this pre-visualized shot I've got today, which I'm perhaps not going to be able to capture because of the conditions, is something that I'll be coming back to again and again until I get it. And then when I do get it, that image will be sold on my website, and hopefully I can reach out to some local businesses as well, maybe some art galleries, and see if they would like to stock my prints and sell prints to the tourists that come through this area. So I think marketing a print about a tourist location is a lot easier. So that's something that I'm certainly going to be working on throughout the course of 2022. I've earmarked 15 different locations along this stretch of coastline. Some amazing, beautiful, iconic scenes that I've got my own ideas about. And well, the next thing that I'm really looking forward to doing is getting the large format camera out. So you might recall last year, if you watched this channel last year, that I built my own 4x5 large format camera. Now I've had mixed results with it so far. Straight out the bat, I've got a couple of amazing images that I'm really happy with. And then the lens malfunctioned on my last visit to a bluebell wood, which was quite disappointing because it was amazing conditions. I haven't had the time because we moved house to fix that lens yet, so I'm going to be working on that, see if I can get that fixed, and then we'll be heading back out with a 4x5 to do some large format photography, which I'm really excited about. Can't wait for that. So yeah, I'll be working on that over the next few weeks. Whew. Looks like we've got a bit of a boil on. Let's get this one poured out. Here we go, here we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely. While that's brewing, one of the biggest projects I've got this year is producing a landscape photography calendar. Now this is something I've thought about long and hard actually for several years, but I really think the time is right now for me to put my landscape photography skills to the test and see if I can come up with 12 images from this year to put in the calendar. So I really want to use the images that I take this year because I feel it makes the calendar more personal to you guys. And I'll be taking you along the journey of making this calendar, taking the images, and hopefully I can share producing the calendar as well. Yeah, I think producing the calendar will really help the longevity of this channel. So yeah, it'll be something we're working on together over the course of the next 6 or 7 months, and then hopefully creating something really nice for Christmas. That's lovely. A little bit hot, but lovely. Protein, guys, protein. It's what you need. It's what you need for these videos. Plenty of protein and coffee. A bit crunchy. So I found a wonderful little spot just here, nestled between these large boulders. There's a beautiful stone situated right in the centre of the sea kelp. And what's really drawn me to it is the actual stone itself got this perfect ring of white quartz running through it. And it's obviously been eroded through time as it's been tossed around by the tides in these boulders here, and it's lovely and smooth. And it just so happens that all the sea kelp around it is kind of forming almost like a natural framing around this central boulder. And it looks really pleasing to me. However, there's many challenges to take this photograph. One is focus. To be able to not get my tripod legs in the shot, I've had to put the telephoto lens on, which is creating a few different problems. Essentially, I'm having to focus stack this image because of the depth of field. So currently I'm at about, where are we, 90mm on the 50 to 140 lens there. And the depth of field is particularly narrow at this distance. So that is a challenge in itself. So I'm going to have to focus stack this image. So I'm going to work my way around the corners of the image, take a series of shots, and then down onto the stone in the bottom there, take a shot of that as well. And then I guess that's a significant amount of work in Photoshop, blending those images together to be able to create a perfectly sharp image throughout. And I'm also using the circular polarizer because something you really need to pay special attention to when you're shooting things such as this, especially boulders or sea kelp, is the reflections. Now, because I'm positioned right above it, any reflections are going to be essentially me standing here, the tripod, the camera, and I don't want to get those reflections into the shot. So using the circular polarizer here can really help eradicate some of those reflections, not all of them, but some of them. And it also helps to boost the contrast and the saturation in the image as well. So I think that really helps. So for this instance, polarizer is working really well, helping me to control those reflections. So compositionally, when you're creating an image such as this, where it's really all about the details, composition is absolutely everything. You need to be 100% sure that everything fits together, because if it's just a shot of some boulders or just a shot of some cracks in a rock, you know, there's nothing really to photograph unless you've got some compositional elements that tie everything together. So for this shot here, I've positioned the boulder with a ring of quartz around it right in the center of the frame. I'm then letting the sea kelp sweep down into that, like I mentioned, creating this natural framing. There's a little bit of seaweed just underneath the sea kelp, which is completely different to the rest of it. I think that helps just to tie the composition together as well, add a little bit of something different. So yeah, it's all about simplicity and the sweeping lines of the sea kelp down to this very unusual boulder, which is different to everything else. Which is Just going to make sure there's no camera shake. Again, with a telephoto lens, any little movement is going to be accentuated. So use my AFL button to lock focus on the left hand side of the image. Take a shot, around about a second, and move up to the top left hand corner. Again, use my AFL button, get my focus. I'm just remembering where I focused on these parts of the image, working my way around the image in a clockwise formation. I always start at the bottom left and work my way around. That way, when I get back to Lightroom, I know the series of shots that I took and where I focused. And then one in the centre on this boulder. So a few different shots there. When I get back to post-production, I might not need all of them, maybe I only need 3 of them, but I'll be able to check the focus where it falls and then just use layers in Photoshop to blend those images together and create this really nice seascape in miniature. So guys, it looks like that may be the end of today's shooting. It's turned into a blue sky day, not a sign of any mist on the horizon whatsoever. So I think that's a wrap. I did enjoy capturing these couple of images this morning. Beautiful to have a spot of breakfast down here in this amazing cove, soaking in the January sunshine. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the thumbs up. I'm sure that really helps out. And also, if you feel others might like it too, feel free to share it. If you really want to support the channel, please be sure to check out my online photography club, the Photographers Clubhouse, where we learn and inspire each other to create amazing photographs. We also take part in monthly challenges. I've also got monthly videos on there, heaps more content over there, so please be sure to check it out if you want to support the channel. Anyway guys, until next week, take care and I'll see you soon.